What's up, everybody? Happy Labor Day and welcome to the Nittany Pod. I am AP. They are Alex and Nick. Penn State took care of business, beat Nevada 46-11. There were a few frustrating moments for sure, but they got in some great work. Drew Aller looked comfortable. He looked like a third-year starting quarterback, and it was great to see him comfortable throwing to receivers, which leads me to my first overreaction. I said last week on buy or sell, Penn State's going to have a receiver go over 1,000 yards, and I do think that's going to happen. Kyron Hudson had himself a pretty nice showing, had almost 90 yards, and if that keeps up, he does look like absolute number one target for this team. So you never know. I might even add on to that fact 10 touchdowns as well. He should have had two.
I mean, it's definitely possible. I mean, Hudson and Aller's connection was, I think, one of the biggest highlights of the game, especially on the offensive side of the ball, where I thought you really saw the run game struggle. That connection with Kyron Hudson and Drew Aller is going to be huge. Last year, he had that connection, obviously, with Tyler Warren, who was an All-American, but it's a tight end. Now you're talking about a receiver. You could do a little bit more with a receiver, just downfield and stuff. So I think that's huge. And then also, you got to remember, Trevor Pena wasn't even here for the spring game. So that's his first time ever in Beaver Stadium in a real game or just in any game because spring game's, not even really a real game. So that connection's still going to build as well. But yeah, that was a great connection we saw from them to start the season.
Yeah, I think if you come out of that game and you are happy that Penn State handled business, the way you felt they should have. Wasn't very sloppy, not a lot of, stupid penalties, mental errors, things like that. There are things to nitpick for sure, but all in all, a lot of guys got reps that need to get reps. I think Franklin said today that 73 players
Yep.
played, which is a ton of players. But to go off what Nick said, I think what we saw from Hudson, what we saw from Pena, is a big deal. And you try
Absolutely.
not to you try not to overreact on a week one thing because we have kind of seen this before. We had Trey Wallace against West Virginia just last year. We had Keandre Lambert Smith against West Virginia, in Alar's first start, and I think everybody, thought Alar was going to win the Heisman after that first throw to KLS. But
Yeah, for sure.
so let's not overreact. But I do think it is a good first step. Um, and yeah, we can get into more about what I would nitpick and what I think needs cleaned up. But
Yeah, we will here
all,
soon.
all in all, it was a good first game.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so I mean, let's get right into it. Let's go into some overreactions. My instant overreaction, like I said, I think my thought last week, Penn State is going to have a receiver go over 1,000 yards. That's based off a week one matchup against Nevada. I'd constitute that as an overreaction. Um, but I think another one for me would be once again, this team is just allergic to harnessing momentum. I mean, they just cannot capitalize on positive momentum in a football game. They haven't been able to do it for a couple years, and it's bit them in the big games. And once again, weren't able to do it on a couple occasions.
Yeah, I thought, I mean, hey, you got to see what Ryan Barker's made of, but that doesn't really make me happy against Nevada because like you kept getting in the red zone and I felt like you weren't getting the touchdowns. You were getting field goals, which is fine. You're playing Nevada. Like at the end of the day, you're probably going to win. They're a much less talented team, but that did concern me. And that also goes with the fact that the running game was not where it should be. You have arguably the best running back room in the country, and they didn't really play that well. Now, thankfully, I think we saw Aller and Hudson, and that could be huge if you have a couple of targets in Hudson and Pena to really go with, and that could maybe offset that. But we need the running game to be there. We need that balance for sure. I mean, we came into the season last week. I was saying we're going to be run dominant,
Yeah,
and after yesterday or 2 days ago, I didn't really see what I need to see from that room. But again, very early.
there were a couple nice runs in there, but yeah, they definitely struggled.
Yeah, I don't think I am gonna overreact and say that the running back room or the running game in general is not what we hope it was. Um, Obviously, I think that that part of the game definitely struggled more than maybe I hoped. Um, but but how much of that was offensive line play being subpar? How much of that was Nick? I mean, I didn't think if I'm picking one group out of the offensive side of the ball that kind of underperformed or wasn't where I thought they should be, it would be the offensive line.
Yeah.
I thought Alar had too much pressure at times. Other times he had all day, and then sometimes, I mean, Katron, if memory serves me correctly, did average almost 6 yards a carry. Like it's not like he was averaging nothing, but you just expect more from that group at this point. With how they played last year, with how the offensive line kind of came along towards the end of the year and kind of really dominated people at times in conference play. You expect more out of that group, and I think you'll get more out of that group. And I would be surprised if they came out and played a similar way here in week 2.
Well, and let's be honest too. I mean, it's not like they really tried to establish the run that much on Saturday either. I think between Katron Allen and Nick Singleton, I don't even think they got more than 16, 17 carries. So I think I even predicted it coming into the game too. Like Drew Aller threw the ball a lot because you want to see what you have in these new pieces on the outside. You want to see what the tight ends look like without Tyler Warren. And yet they didn't try to run the ball that often. And like you said, Katron Allen did have a nice average per carry, but he didn't carry it that often. So when you have and it's always like that to start the game. You don't necessarily pop runs to start the game immediately, but when you have your first 5 carries go for 10 yards and you only carry the ball 8 times, I mean, it's gonna look like shit. Um, but
And I think going back to Alex's point, I mean, the O line and the run game go hand in hand, right? I mean,
yeah,
the O line
Right.
definitely struggled, and I think we all agree with that. And maybe if you're Kotelnicki or Franklin, you see that in practice. You see that the O line isn't maybe where you wanted them to be by week 1, and you're going to go with a more pass heavy offense because obviously that's going to benefit more. I mean, also, if you guys look around the country, there was a lot of O lines that struggled this weekend. Notre Dame's O line yesterday was not that good, and that is an O line that was very good last year. So I think early on the trenches are going to be the ones that lag behind the most. Defenses are always going to be ahead of offenses, and the trenches is where you see that. It's where it plays out the most. So yeah, I mean, I think the O line did struggle, and that's why again the run game wasn't used as much. So yeah, I would agree with that. I think they go hand in hand.
Yeah, and I think our friend Landon Tangwall had a pretty nice film breakdown of the offensive line struggles over on his page. Um, I I am a O line play nerd, so I
yeah,
enjoy videos like that. But it didn't seem like the combo blocks were getting where they needed to be. We weren't climbing to the second level, and when you're not doing that, the zone concepts that they were trying to run aren't going to work. Um, so I would expect that Phil Troutwine is probably not the happiest person in the building right now, given the film that he watched. Um, but I do trust that this group will clean it up. They've shown it. They definitely have the potential to do so. And yeah, I don't think we need to overreact and press the panic button quite yet.
yeah. Lord knows Alex. Those who know Alex loves a good Baldy's breakdown, and Penn State's offensive line certainly did not deserve one for their week 1 performance, but they'll probably get one at some point here this season because they're loaded. They just need to get the ball rolling. That's it. Week 1, they'll work it out. All right, let's get into some good, bad, ugly. There's always some good, bad, and ugly to take away from every game. Um, what do you guys got for each?
So my good is I'll take the easy one here. Denai Dennis Sutton is a just manhandled people on Saturday afternoon. Um, he picked up kind of right where he left off in the Orange Bowl and looks like he is a man on a mission. Um, I will also say that shout out to Zane Durant. I think he's going to have a monster year as well, as long as they both stay healthy. That would be the good. I think the bad is kind of what we already talked about. For me, the offensive line, I didn't like where they were. I'm not saying they were just atrocious, but if we would have played an Ohio State defensive line, a Texas defensive line, something like that in week one, like we probably would have been in some serious trouble. We That running game would have been completely shut down, most likely.
Yeah.
And then the ugly was whatever that 2-point attempt was. Pretty sure Franklin called it disgusting in his post-game press conference, which I think was, pretty spot on. But yeah, those would be my good, bad, ugly.
I'd love to have TK here for his analysis of that 2-point conversion. Lord knows it'd be incredible.
Yeah, I think I saw he put out a tweet that said, "How can you be up 30 and still look like a jackass?" or something like that.
Nick, what you got?
For the good, I think we got to talk about something that's going to, maybe not as important as some people think, but the third string offense, they looked great. I mean, you had Cam Wallace. Well, I guess some of it was second string, some of it was third string, but that second offense that came in,
Right.
you had Cam Wallace running the ball. I mean, he looked legit. That hurdle he had was the real deal.
Looked like
Andrew
Saquon, 2017.
Yeah, it did. It did. Then you had Andrew Rappleyea at tight end, who I thought looked really good. He might not be on that second or third string for much longer.
Yeah, we're going to talk
And
about him
then
a little bit later.
and then you had Ethan Grunkemeyer at quarterback, who, I thought he looked pretty good for what he is. Ugly, we kind of already talked about it, the whole running game O-line situation. Again, we already got into that. I don't need to speak much more on that. And then bad, the defense versus, not in general, but versus the option. When Nevada would run option plays, I thought there was a couple that worked out really well, right? There was a couple where they kind of had the linebacker and the DN coming in. They would put the linebacker on the running back, the DN, the DN on the running back, the linebacker on the quarterback, and they would just slam into it. But there was other plays where Chubba Purdy was going for 20 yards. And you're going to see a lot of running quarterbacks throughout the course of the year. Again, I thought there was some plays that they could really build on that really worked. There was other plays where I was just like, that you can't let a guy like Chubba Purdy run all over you like that. So, week one, it's not that big of a deal. Jim Knowles is a good defensive coordinator. They're gonna figure that out, especially before they play a guy like Dante Moore, who's gonna be able to run the ball. But yeah, that's what I would go with.
For me, my good, bad, and ugly, I have passing offense was really, really good on Saturday. Drew Aller, I think he only had 4 incompletions. A couple of them were throwaways. One was genuinely a bad throw, and then the other was a drop. Actually, both of them were drops. One was a bad throw, the other was just a drop. But both of them could have been caught. And, I think he was 85%. He had an 85% completion rate. 16 of his passes went to wide receivers, which that hasn't been done in a couple years at Penn State, which is just shameful to say. But, passing offense, again, it's Nevada. I know, can't take too much from it, but looked good. People were open. People were getting loose in space and making people miss. So love seeing that. My bad, how the defense looked without Tony Rojas. And that kind of plays into what you were just speaking about, Nick. Nevada had that drive where they went down and scored a field goal. And the whole time I'm like, bro, what is going on? What is wrong with the defense? And here I look up and I don't see 13 out there. And, obviously you need him to get a breather and everything, but it's evident when he's on the field, he's a difference maker. And when he's off the field, it's noticeable. So definitely need to clean that up a little bit, however you need to do it. And then ugly, I have the red zone offense. Absolutely atrocious. Kind of what I was talking about earlier as far as harnessing momentum and everything. You get Zane Durant gets that interception, huge moment, getting ready to blow the doors off of him early. And I don't even think he gained a yard after that. And again, it's Nevada. You can't have these issues. Especially if you want to contend for a national title, beat Oregon, beat Ohio State, beat whatever SEC program you're going to face, probably Notre Dame as well. You got to clean this shit up. So that's my ugly.
Yeah, I think I forget who said it, but this is probably pretty you know, if you're looking at this from a big picture standpoint, right? If you want to call this like these first three games like a preseason or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
for a week one game, I would think that this is like a coach's dream, film wise, right?
Yeah.
So like I think all of us would agree that you could see the potential of this team there. It has pieces, it has talent, it has speed. The list goes on and on. But in the same breath, you could also tell it was week one, right? The red zone struggles, the running game struggles. You know, I, in the long run, was it good that Ryan Barker got some opportunities? Probably.
Yeah, absolutely.
We didn't get to punt the ball. I know that's not a bad thing, but special teams needs work too. Shout out King Mac. Welcome back to Happy Valley on that kickoff return.
Called
But
him
yeah, I
Khalil
mean,
Dinkins for about 5 minutes.
I think, I think, I think as a whole, the biggest thing that I want to see is the step from week, and James talks about it all the time, the step from week one to week two. How do we look this coming week compared to how we looked last week? Is the offense, is the running game better? Does the O-line play better? You need to take those steps in these first 3 weeks, and it's even more important because your first conference game is possibly against a top five opponent.
Yeah, possibly the first top five whiteout in Penn State history. And just to kind of build on that, I mean, obviously it's a little bit different, but let's just remember, 4 of the top 10 teams in the country lost this week. Now, obviously they were playing each other, so it is a bit different. They were not playing Nevada Reno. No one really got upset in a big way. But there's 4 teams that were playoff contenders, still are, by the way, because we're in a 12-team playoff here, that are 0-1 right now. We're 1-0. So yeah, there's a lot to work on, but let's be happy with the win and move on to the next. That's the way I look at
Yeah, and I mean,
Yeah.
if you watch those games too, right? Like, the Heisman favorite didn't really look great,
it. Did not look good at
obviously.
all.
Hell no.
A lot of people had Clemson, chalked in as a national title contender. And I know they're playing a top 10 LSU team. I'm not saying they're, out of the picture, but
They didn't look
um,
like no
th
title contender.
they only scored 10 points. Like the defenses were obviously ahead of where almost all the offenses were this weekend, in my opinion. Uh,
As expected, like always.
And the thing with Clemson that's interesting is a lot of the, a lot of the reason that people thought Clemson was going to be so good this year, and they might still be, don't get me wrong, one game, they might go 11-1 for all we know, was returning production.
mhm.
Returning production. That's the same reason people think Penn State is going to be good. Returning production. So let's not rest on our laurels, right? Returning production is not everything. These guys are going to keep developing, though. We got to make sure we keep getting, like, if they keep getting better, which we kind of saw. I thought Drew Allard looked better this
Oh,
week one
absolutely.
than he did
Yeah.
last year. So if
Yeah.
that's what we need to see in these first 3 games, is that the guys from last year look better, that Hudson and Pena kind of develop into the offense properly. Because again, Clemson's the same as us. We're a lot of returning production. They just lost the game to LSU. So we got to see that the guys are getting better.
Yeah, and I mean lots of things to clean up, right? But you remember last year, you look at this team last year who was one drive, one play, one stop away from making the national title game. That team almost lost to Bowling Green at home.
Yeah, I
This
remember that game.
this
Yep.
game was not perfect. It was not, maybe what we wanted completely, but it was it felt very business-like, from
Yeah.
the get-go. They come out early. I know they gave up a little bit of a drive there on the first one, but we force a fumble, go down, score a touchdown. Like this game was really never in question.
Well,
And we don't always see that from Penn State early in the year.
and I know James was joking about it in the post game press conference. When talking about he purposefully called stuff that would not work in the red zone. But and I know that was a joke, but I do think there's a little bit of truth to that in a sense. Obviously not in the red zone, but you want to work in every possible scenario in these preseason like games. Now I'm not saying you're purposely calling stuff that's not going to work. That's not what I'm saying. But you want to get a glimpse of your team in every possible scenario in these games. So
I
you're
do
not
think
so you're not coming into these games. You're not coming in because we all know we could have walked into this game and just dropped bombs all day and just blew them out. Absolutely blew their doors off. But that's not what they did. They were slow. They were methodical. Like you said, Alex, they were businesslike. So, again,
Well, I also
I
think
do
Nevada.
think there's a little bit of truth to what he was saying. Not
I
saying he
also
was purposely calling stuff that
I
wouldn't
also
work.
think Nevada, kind of took that. I saw some people complaining that we weren't explosive enough, which obviously you always want Penn State to be explosive in every game. But I do think Nevada kind of took that away. Um, and I'm sure going into this, they're not coming in probably expecting to upset the number 2 ranked team in the country. But what were we going to take away? All right, so we're going to try and take Katron and Nick out of the game as much as we possibly can, and we're not going to get beat deep. That's what it felt like from their standpoint.
And I do think there is a point in that you are calling this game differently because it's week one
Mm-hmm.
and it's a team like Nevada. I think, right. But I think there's also a part, it's like, okay, you're going to call the game differently, but you also don't want to give too much away. You don't want to put too much on
Right.
tape so that
Right.
Oregon sees that and is now able to kind of like make adjustments. You kind of want to run a vanilla offense while still seeing a bunch of different sets and personnels. But
Exactly.
so I do think there is some truth to that for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go ahead and get this Nevada talk wrapped up here. Give me your players of the game. I think we're probably all going to be on the same page here, but you never know. Might throw something different out there. Who you guys got?
Do you want one in general or one from each side of the ball?
No, just one in general.
I'm gonna switch it up because the apparent one is too easy, and I already talked about him. I'm gonna say Kyron Hudson, transfer coming in, had a really nice day. Made that catch along the sideline with the toe tap, was a really nice grab. I thought the chemistry between him and Drew felt apparent. We will see how that continues to build and play out as the season goes on. Trying not to overreact, but for your first game, transfer guy coming in, I think him and Pena made a pretty good impression.
Yeah, I'm going to take the easy one because we're 22 minutes into this podcast, and I feel like he's only got about 30 seconds of attention. Deni Dennis Sutton is the player of the game.
Yeah.
2 forced fumbles,
Yeah.
an amazing game. Somehow was left off pretty much every preseason All-American list in the country, and I think he saw that. Maybe he didn't. Maybe he follows the James Franklin mantra of blocking everything out. But most likely, he's like most people and checks his phone every now and then and saw that and responded in the correct way, which is by going out there and playing a hell of a game. Jim Knowles let him play his style of play of just ripping it. It was just an amazing performance. And if we have that all year, he is going to be he's going to be first team All-American, first team All Big Ten, bring home a bunch of awards. He's a hell of a player.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going with Deni Dennis Sutton as well. It's the easy one, but I mean, it's by I mean, how could you not go with him? I mean, Kyron Hudson is a great pick as well, but Deni Dennis Sutton was absolutely the player of the game. 5 tackles, 1 sack, surprisingly. It felt like he had more, probably because of the 2 forced fumbles, but I mean, he was just playing absolutely out of his mind. He looked like an animal. He looked like he was out there on drugs. Like he was just going insane out there.
It looked like varsity versus JV.
Yeah, truly. Like he was just going insane, and
Yeah, but
it was a beautiful thing to see. And everybody says he's not Abdul, which obviously he's not. He's Deni Dennis Sutton.
Not yet.
But the thing about Abdul, he wasn't Abdul until like week 5, week 6 last year. He wasn't Abdul until Big Ten play. And Deni Dennis Sutton is coming out playing like that week 1. Oh, as long as he stays healthy, man, I can't imagine what he's going to be like come Ohio State.
Yeah, I mean, he kind of put the country on notice, right? I think
Absolutely.
If he continues to play that way, Franklin had a lot of high praise for him in his post-game presser as well, rightfully so. And yeah, and if you think back to his recruitment, this is kind of what we expected when we recruited him, and we're finally starting to see it kind of come to fruition. A lot of depth there. Didn't play all the reps in years past just because of the depth that we've had at the end spot. But I don't know. Ever since that playoff run last year, he's really kind of took another step and seems to be reaching his full potential.
Yeah, when he came back healthy last year, he's looked different ever since. All right, let's go ahead and switch it up and get on the Florida International. Pitbull's team, Mr. Worldwide. My girlfriend would love them if she knew that. We're 42-point favorites. They're coming off of a big win against Bethune-Cookman. They won 42-9. They bring back 4 starters from last year. They're ranked 132nd, according to Lindy's magazine that I buy every season, or, every season in the summer. They were picked last in Conference USA. Their quarterback is a pretty solid player, but aside from that, they're not really. I mean, I don't know too much to say about them. I don't want to barrage them too bad, but they did have a nice win last week. But you're coming in playing Penn State, so
Yeah. Here's the deal. This game's a joke. I don't even know why we're playing this game.
Preseason game number 2.
You're playing Florida International and Villanova. Okay, so yeah. They're the worst team in the worst conference in the FBS. They do have a first-year head coach, Willie Simmons, who, if you follow the coaching carousel, has been a pretty well-talked-about name for the last couple of years. He's won an HBCU national championship, won the Celebration Bowl, which is what that is considered. And, he did win at that level, but this is a program that hasn't had a winning season in 7 years. Willie Simmons is a good coach, but they just beat Bethune-Cookman, by the way. They went 2-10 at the FCS level last year. That is not a good program. And Willie Simmons probably knows a decent amount about them from his time at Florida A&M. So he probably had a good amount of information about them already. This game is, I really don't know what else you want me to say besides the fact that we're going to hopefully get to see a lot of these guys continue to get more reps. Hopefully 74 players this week play instead of 73. All right, just keep building up on it. That should be the goal of this week. Get as many guys, as many reps as possible.
I was going to ask what you're looking to see in this game, so there we go.
Yeah, preseason game number 2 is here, and I expect, kind of more of the same, a business-like attitude from Penn State. Come out, play good, solid football. Don't be sloppy. No stupid, mental mistakes. Really similar to like we saw in week 1, but better, right? More from the offensive line, more from the running game, a continued improvement in the passing game as well. One thing that we didn't mention about that week 1 game is the tight ends didn't really get involved a whole lot, which maybe you look at that as a blessing and a curse, right? Because you want to get those guys touches, you want to get them involved. But it also was kind of nice to know that, hey, we don't need to rely on 44 maybe all year, all the time. Like we did last year. So yeah, just more of the same. I don't know shit about this team. I don't know shit about Villanova either. I'm just more focused on Penn State continuing to prepare for Oregon is basically how I look at these next 2 games.
Yeah. Anything in specific that you want to see out of this game? I know you listed a few things, Alex, but anything in specific that you want to see coming out of this Florida International game? Any specific player you're watching?
Yeah, I think for me, it's going to be that offensive line as a whole, right? I want to see and need to see them play better. They are not playing defensive lines that they're going to be playing when conference play rolls around. So they kind of need, I don't want to say they need to be perfect, but they need to be better than what they were on Saturday. And if they are better, Nick and Katron are going to do their thing. And, maybe we see, it would be nice to see some, explosives from the passing game, right? Do we take a deep shot to Hudson or Pena or Ross or whoever's out there, right? Maybe a little bit of more explosive plays and,
Yeah, I've got a few that I'd like to see a little bit more of on Saturday. Starting with number 1, you just mentioned him, Devontae Ross. He had 1 catch this past Saturday, and to me, it was an impressive catch. It was only 5 yards, but Drew Aller fired that thing in there at about 60 miles an hour, and it was 5 yards, and he just snagged that thing like it was nothing. And for a guy that's typically, supposed to be in this offense, I guess, the guy that's going to take the top off, catch the go ball, for him to catch that underneath the way that he did, that was impressive in my opinion, and I want to see more of him because there was a lot of talk about him. A little bit right there before camp, there was a lot of talk about him probably being the best receiver on the team from outside people, and I'd like to see that come to fruition a little bit. The other guys I'd like to see a little bit more of are on the defensive side. Now the defense played really well, of course, but I'd like to see more of Alonzo Ford and then Xavier Gilliam. I'd like to hear their name called a little bit more. I'd also like to see a little bit more Chaz Coleman. These young defensive linemen intrigue the hell out of me, and I'm just really really excited to see what they can do.
Yeah, I feel like we didn't see a ton of Chaz Coleman this week. Didn't hear his name getting called a lot, and he
No,
has the green light. He has the green light, so I am excited to see what he has to offer, especially
he
these
did.
next 2 weeks.
He did have a pretty nice play though. I mean, so he didn't make the play. He forced the play to one side. But shout out Basic Blues, one of our guys from our big group chat on Twitter, posted a clip. Chaz Coleman with a little spin move on the tackle, forced the quarterback out, and that was actually denied in a Sutton sack. So shout out Chaz Coleman setting tonight, and then is setting up for that. Looks promising, man. Looks promising. Really raw. Only been playing the position for a little over a year at this point, but you can see it. You can see
It's
it.
going to be a position that's really important, that defensive line kind of as a whole, as the year goes on here. Where Penn State is going to have to get production from someone um, that can rotate in, right?
Mhm.
Um, it's a good group, it's a deep group, but there's a lot of question marks with that group. Outside of Deny and Durant, and I guess you could throw Ford in there a little bit too. There's not really a whole lot of guys that have played a lot of reps for Penn State yet. Um,
Yeah.
so
And
so the development of that group is going to be important.
yeah, and they're the ones, that defensive line as a whole, outside of Deny and Zane Durant, that defensive line unit is what I really wanted to see for this quote unquote preseason period that Penn State has these first few weeks, because you got a lot of guys. There's a lot of names there. They're all very talented, but you haven't seen much of any of them. So, um, you know, these next couple games are going to be really nice to see them getting in there for sure. All right, score predictions.
A lot to a little.
Come on, give me a number.
I don't know. I picked them to cover last week and they didn't. Um,
Yeah, that was a little disappointing. They were
uh,
close. They were close, but then they gave up that touchdown at
Yeah,
the
but
end.
I forget who said it, but someone I saw this on Twitter somewhere. Someone said, hey, they didn't cover, but no injuries. That's
Yeah,
huge.
yeah.
yeah, for
I'll
sure.
take that. That's
That's
the
huge. It's
bigger
a good
thing.
trade-off.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm
Fuck
gonna
my coin.
say I'm gonna give them the 50 burger again. Maybe they'll hit it this time. 51 to 9.
Hey, had they scored touchdowns instead of those field goals, they would have had 58 last game. So not a bad prediction.
Hey, last week I had them winning 45-13. They won 46-11. So I wasn't that far off last week. This week I'm gonna go
Buy a
I'm
lottery
gonna go
ticket.
yeah, maybe. Yeah. I almost only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades.
Yeah.
But I'll go with 42-10. Penn State still not covered, but I'll go 42-10, and I'm hoping that they're up like 35-0 in halftime, and then they unload the bench and everything slows down a bit. But yeah, I'll go 42-10.
Shit, I hope the bench would get more than 7 points with a whole half
Yeah,
to
yeah,
play.
that's fair. That's fair.
Al, you said 51-9.
Yeah.
All right. I think Penn State does cover this week. What did I have written down? 59-13.
Whew, almost 60.
59 points. Holy shit.
Yeah.
That'd be a good
Yeah.
day. I think we'd all be pretty happy with that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, listen. Their defense brought back 2 players from last season. They're a team that's picked damn near dead last in the FBS. They're behind Delaware that just bumped up from the FCS.
Can
Yeah, go
can I
ahead.
just point something out because
Yeah.
it was a tweet and Nick saw it, so he knows what I'm talking about or has already heard this rant. But so these next 2 weeks here, Penn State does not need to drop 50 on somebody to prove that they're a legit team. I just want to point that out,
And that's kind of what I was talking about earlier when it
because
comes to calling the game.
because and I know I tweeted this out too, but 2018 Penn State dropped over 50 on Pitt, 60 on Kent State, and 60 on Illinois, and then proceeded to lose the next 2 weeks to Ohio State and Michigan State at home. So just because we dropped 50, or I saw Cowherd was really had to stick up his ass, and all excited because USC dropped 73 on somebody. It does not mean
Missouri State.
It literally does not mean anything. And I will still pick this team to lose to Ohio State in November, even if they drop 70 on the next two opponents. So I just want to put that out there. It is an inflated, weird way of thinking a team is good when they drop, 60 on Villanova. They should, guys.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
Villanova.
Yeah.
That does not mean they're going to go house Ohio State. It's not what that means.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
think
the nice thing. Sorry, go ahead, Nick.
I was just gonna make a joke. I was gonna say I think the football team would score more against Villanova than the basketball team.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're definitely not wrong.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Shit. No, I mean, you're right, Alex. I don't think this team needs to drop 59 points. But I think it's going to happen. I think it's just going to I think that's just how it's going to end up. Like, they're not going to try for 59 points.
No.
They're not out here looking for style points. The style points isn't a thing anymore. So who cares about putting up the biggest number or anything? But I mean, when you're 42-point favorites over a team, or you're expected to drop 60 points on a team, you're expected to drop 60 points on the team. So fucking do it.
Yeah, I mean, in my mind, it's just a bad measurement of judging if a team is legit. That's all.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that's the definition of just box score watching. But yeah, 59-13, in my opinion, is going to be the final score of the football game. Penn State does cover in that scenario. Let's go ahead and move on to run with that, pass on that. Buy or sell. Got a couple things to talk about here. What are you laughing about?
I like this segment.
All right. Number one here. Nick and I were talking about this a few minutes before the podcast, and I think this is going to be an interesting conversation here. Andrew Rappleyea is going to be tight end 1 come the end of the season. Come mid-season. Andrew Rappleyea is going to be tight end 1. You going to run with that or pass on that?
I'm going to pass on that. And the reason I'm going to pass on that is because I think Khalil Dinkins is more experienced, more proven. Franklin had praise for him in the press conference today, calling him the most well-rounded tight end in the country. So I think Rappliea's potential is certainly there. But I think coming off the injury last year, still kind of getting into the swing of things, it's going to take some time. And I don't think he will be tight end 1 by the end of the year. I think Dinkins will hold on to that title.
I'll run with it, right? Last week we all agreed it was kind of boring, so let me run with it, right? There's actually a funny note about Khalil Dinkins. I don't know if anyone caught this when King Mack returned the ball to maybe
That
like
was hilarious, yeah.
and Gary Nestler's like, Khalil Dinkins down the sideline. I was like, oh, Gary's bored, man. He wishes he was at a Bama game right now. But yeah. But anyway. Andrew Rappleyea, he played great. I mean, it was against Nevada. It was the third string offense, the second string offense, whatever you want to call it. And it ends up being like I don't even know how much you're going to really see the tight ends this year. Obviously, they're going to be a part of the offense, but when you have 2 threats on the outside, 2 running backs, there's only so many plays to get the ball around. So I don't know if the tight ends will be as big a part of the offense as last year. I think James Franklin's a big fan of the tight end room. So I think that it's still going to be a big part. But they have a lot of targets. They have a lot of guys to get the ball to. So I'm not sure how big. But I would go with maybe it ends up being a 1A, 1B situation. I think Andrew Rappleyea is going to be on the field a lot. I think you're going to see a lot of 2 tight end sets. I think he is going to be out there a lot. Maybe he won't be like the clear number 1, but I could definitely see it happening where they're almost 50-50 on the reps.
For starters, first of all, How amazing does it feel to say, "Oh, I don't even think Penn State's going to need to use their tight ends like that this year." I mean, oh, holy shit! And I love tight ends, but damn, that feels incredible to say.
I mean,
Um,
I'd rather just have Tyler Warren on this team right now.
I
But
mean, yeah,
That's fair.
yeah,
that'd be nice.
I mean, just add
I'd
him
love to
into
have
this.
Abdul Carter.
Yeah.
But no, I'm going to run with that as well. I think Andrew Rapplier, so a couple years ago when Andrew Rapplier came on campus before he got injured, he forced the issue to get himself playing time that season. I think a lot of people forget that. He came into a very crowded tight end room at the time that featured Tyler Warren, that featured, I think at the time, Brenton Strange as well, Theo Johnson also. Like, he came into that room and kind of was forcing his hand as far as getting a little bit of playing time. And I think the healthier he gets, the more he rounds back into that form, and you don't have those guys to compete against anymore. All due respect to Khalil Dinkins and the rest of the guys in that room, Luke Reynolds especially. But Andrew Rapplier I think he's a special tight end, and he flashed that a little bit on Saturday. And I think he's just going to keep running with that. So let me run with that as well.
Y'all are wrong.
Yeah, all right. Next up, we got Chaz Coleman is going to lead the team in sacks.
Oh my God, no.
Hey, this was provided by Landon Tangwall. He's been saying that for weeks, and I thought that's an interesting take there.
Does Deny get hurt?
Yeah.
So okay. So if Saturday was a preview of what Deny is, what type of year Deny is going to have, no, Chaz Coleman is not going to lead this team in sacks. So pass.
Fair enough. Yeah, simple enough. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to have to echo that. I mean, I think Dennis Sutton could potentially go down as a first-team All-American this year. So I'm not going to tell you that Chaz Coleman's going to lead the team in sacks. And I actually mentioned earlier, I feel like we didn't hear his name as much on Saturday as I was hoping we would.
Now, I will say, if that does come true and Chaz Coleman does lead the team in sacks, and we have a healthy Deny with a preview of what we saw on Saturday, that carrying out through the season, that's a big deal.
That's dangerous.
Yeah,
That's dangerous.
That's a huge deal.
I want to run with this so bad, but
Well,
I don't.
All right.
I don't fully believe in that. I think he can get close. I think he can get in contention for it. He looks like a special talent, man. He's only been playing the position like 18 months, something like that. Like he hasn't been a defensive end for long, and to see some of the stuff that he's doing already again, and you didn't hear his name much on Saturday, but if you go back and just watch him when he gets on the field, he's doing some impressive things out there for sure.
I think you're going to hear a lot. I think you're going to hear his name get called a lot the next couple of weeks.
I also think it's important to remember, these guys that Franklin greenlights are not being greenlighted for the hell of it, right? I do not think Franklin takes those decisions lightly. And I think you have to prove, like really, really prove something in camp to just come out of camp and be greenlighted. We've seen times where guys are coming out of camp and they may be, yellow or, we'll see how it goes these first couple weeks, right? And then all of a sudden, they're making big impacts and they burn the red shirt or whatever. But to come out of camp and Franklin's like, yeah, you're going to play. That's a big deal. Like, there's obviously something to this kid.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to seeing what he's able to do in the future, man. It only up. All right, last one. Unless you guys have something else for me. Run game is going to be an issue this year. And look, I understand, that's very far-fetched with the two guys we have back there. But when you can't run the ball very effectively against Nevada, it's only a talking point right now. But there is a point where it's more than just a talking point. I mean, we've seen talented backfields at Penn State be shit before. That's not to discredit the two running backs. That's maybe it's just one of those things this year.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to pass. As much as I was saying, like, hey, like the run game struggled, and I do think they struggled in week one. I don't think they're gonna be a problem for the whole season, right? I think again, it's one game against Nevada. Hey, if they struggle against FIU and then they struggle against Villanova and then they struggle against Oregon, all right, yeah, my tone might switch up then, and then I might be running with that statement. But for now, again, you still have arguably the best running back room in the country, right? The O line, if they come into form, you should have the best O line in the country. If you have the best O line in the country and the best running back room in the country, and you cannot run the ball,
It's a
then
problem.
everyone needs to get out of town and fold the football program because that's
Yeah.
that's football 101.
And
So at the end of the
Stan Drayton
day,
needs to go back to Texas.
yeah, exactly. At the end of the day, I have to pass on. I have to run with. But no, I have to pass on. I have to pass on. I do
Pass
not
on
think
that.
the running back.
Pass on that, yeah.
I do not think the running back room is going to be a problem. Though they did, in my opinion, struggle in week one. But I think they'll come back to form very quickly.
Yeah, I gotta echo what Nick's saying. I can't, and I also can't come in here and say after one game that the running back room's going to struggle after last week saying that Katron and Nick are going to be at the top of the
Yeah.
bookstore steps. So I will say there's a lot of things that have pissed me off in the James Franklin era. If the running game would struggle for some reason this year with the talent that we have,
That take the cake.
well, he's done a lot of stupid shit, so it probably wouldn't take the cake, and it probably wouldn't be all his fault. But that would piss me off. Like this running game will not struggle. Yeah, they're not going to struggle. Pass.
Fuck you guys.
It's too talented to struggle. Yeah, that's my point. I think that's
Yeah,
Nick's point.
yeah,
That's my
no,
point. Like there is too much talent for them to struggle.
Yeah,
Even
the
along
way
the
that
offensive line, if Rucci starts to struggle, like I thought he was really, really good to end the year last year. If
Uh-huh.
Rucci starts to struggle, you can slide Anthony back out. You can bring in Coop at guard. Like you have Shanahan sitting in the wings. Like even if the O line struggles, there is options because of how deep that group is.
Speaking of the struggling O line, can we talk about that botched snap in the red zone that like completely destroyed a touchdown opportunity?
Yeah,
That was
What's
like
that?
you cannot have that. Like when we talk about struggling O line play, that's like one of the first plays that comes
yeah,
to my
that's
mind.
absolute
That was a
worst thing
touch.
you can
They
do.
were going for a touchdown there.
Mm-hmm. And I think that was third down too. So I mean,
Yeah, it was.
that's plays right into your red zone issues also.
Not great.
No.
So what are you doing?
I
You
don't
running or
think
passing?
I mean, I'm gonna pass on it, but it's all relative, right? Like, yeah, what's your definition for Penn State's run game struggling in 2025? Yeah, I mean, is it how effective we are against the Ohio
Well,
States of the world, or is it how good they look in general? I mean, they can look amazing this weekend and amazing against Villanova, and then put up a dud against Oregon, and look solid against everybody else. And what are you going to say about it at
well,
the end of the year if that's
well,
the scenario?
I mean, I do think we also have to understand how teams are probably going to play this team, right? Like if you're okay, so if you're an opposing defensive coordinator and you're coming into a game against Penn State, who are you going to take away first? You're going to take away those two, or at least try, right? And you're going to make Drew stand in the pocket and try and find a wide receiver, try and find a tight end, because now you don't have Tyler Warren to worry about either, which is something every team had to game plan for last year, right? So until it's proven that Drew, the wide receivers, and this kind of new look tight end room can produce, you take away Nick and Katron. That's what you take away. Those are the biggest threats.
Yeah.
So it is going to get play. In my opinion, defenses will play this team different based on the production they've kind of really had since they got here, right? Um, and then also on top of that, the struggles that Penn State has had in the past. You you shouldn't be a defensive coordinator if you don't make that your number one priority.
I think it's definitely something you need to get it ironed out here soon, because it's fine to struggle week 1 against Nevada. It may be even fine to struggle week 2 against FIU, but you have to get it figured out before Oregon, because if you go into that Oregon game and everybody's taking away the run game, first 3 games everybody's taking away the run game, letting Drew Aller and the wide receivers eat. You go into the Oregon matchup. Oregon then starts to key on Drew Aller and the wide receivers. Your run game hasn't gotten on track yet. So then what are you going to do? So I think it's really key that they start to get it rolling here in the next couple weeks. It might be a little bit of an overreaction, but I think it's really important.
I mean, I'm telling you, come back to me after the Oregon game, and if they have 3 more bad games in the running game, I'll run with that take again. I think it's too early, but yeah, I think it could be the case. We'll see.
Yeah. All right. I think that's going to be it for the preview there for FIU. Let's talk a little bit about just college football in general. Week 1. Let's wrap up week 1. Talk a little bit about week 2. Week 1 was awesome, man. Had some bangers. There were a couple boring games as well, like Texas Ohio State. It was a defensive struggle. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people like to say, "Oh, defensive struggles are awesome to watch." That game was fucking boring, dude. That was absolutely boring. You know, I love great defense, but holy shit.
Obviously,
I expected a little bit more than 7-0 going into the fourth quarter.
What I will say about this weekend is it was like very top heavy. Like I was on YouTube TV where I was doing the multi-box, and I felt like there was only really one big game at a time. Like it was like there would be big games, and then there would just be like, this is unwatchable. Like Marshall, Georgia was on ESPN and was probably the second best. All right, Penn State was on. So probably the third best game in the 3:30 window was Marshall and Georgia. So there were some great games. I don't want to overreact on Arch or anything. Don't want to overreact on Ohio State or anything. I will say Julian Sain was not necessarily impressive. Ohio State's defense, once again, looks just like they did last year, where they will stop you at the goal line. They will stop you in the red zone. Bend but don't break, as Joel Klatt would say on Big Noon the other day. You go into that, I mean, Alabama lost. Florida State is probably right back into playoff contention. And them in Miami might be your ACC frontrunners right now, right? Because Clemson lost. And thankfully, Jawan Sider and Tom Allen both lost. Call that a good weekend.
yeah, I think there was a lot to take away from week 1, and I think the biggest takeaway that I have from week 1 is that Ohio State's really good again, and that's annoying. Like I get it, like they were ranked number 3, like it's not like they were 20th or anything like that, but god damn, like they just do it again, right? Like I just reload, but I don't even know what you want to call it at this point. I thought that was a really, really impressive win from them. They replaced their quarterback, 2 new coordinators. They played disciplined football. And they just have this way, and I probably shouldn't glaze Ohio State too much on a Penn State podcast or I'll get canceled, but they just find a way all the time to rise to the moment, rise to the big occasion, whatever that may be. On Saturday, it was a goal line stand. In the playoffs, it was Jack Sawyer returning it for a fumble for a touchdown. They just always find a way, and it's annoying as shit. But that part aside, it was fun watching all of social media bash Arch Manning like they bashed Drew Aller in big games. So that was enjoyable.
Yeah.
Alabama. Let's talk about Alabama, because I really think this is interesting. Kalen DeBoer, like what is he doing? Like that, I'm gonna steal because I thought Josh Pate had a lot of really good points on this game. So I'm going to steal some of what he talked about. But
I haven't listened to him.
There is no, like that Alabama defense was like a shell of what they once were under Nick Saban. They don't look like they have fire. They don't look like they have energy. They don't look like they want to be on the field most of the time. Kalen DeBoer took the keys to a Mercedes and is like what 5-5 in his last 10 games or whatever. It is weird. I don't know what is going on in Alabama, but I really think it's on the precipice of being like they're going to be shit kind of thing. I know people are glazing up, Florida State, and that might be fine, and Florida State might be really good. Time will tell. Or is it just Alabama is bad?
How good
I'm
is a
not.
team that went 2-10 last year? I know the whole team changed pretty much, but like how good did I don't know. We'll see.
I'm not sold on this whole he took over a Mercedes thing. I'm really not. Their AD was on Twitter this past offseason begging for NIL money. They are at a competitive disadvantage to some of these other schools with richer alumni bases. Texas has a bunch of oil money. Georgia is in a state with a huge city with Atlanta that has a ton of alumni in it. Penn State has the biggest alumni base in the country. Ohio State is right there with them. Michigan is loaded with money. I think a lot of these other schools just have way more money. It makes it way easier for them to compete. I don't know if Alabama genuinely has the resources to compete in the NIL field. They have the resources with the facilities but they don't have the NIL money. They do not have it.
They don't.
Okay, but we can't act like Alabama is just bringing in, top, 30th ranked recruiting classes and things like that. Like this is still a talented roster. This is still a talented team. The last game Nick Saban coached was a playoff game. It's like
But Saban's smart. Why do you think he left?
You can see the downward trend for sure.
I mean,
I think Saban saw it coming.
To be
Yeah.
fair, Shane Gillis did tell us this on game day, a couple years ago that all the teams have a chance now.
Alabama Jones.
That everybody else can
Why
now
do you
pay
think
their
why do you think
players, right?
Saban was
But
pissed when he said it?
I mean, and that might be right, and Nick could be spot on, but it is just hard for me to be convinced that NIL money is the reason, we're seeing what we're seeing on the field in Alabama. It's
Well,
just
I also don't think DeBoer is a fit in Alabama. I think Kalen DeBoer is a great coach. He is a great coach. But when it comes to coaching in the SEC and specifically at Alabama, there's gotta be a little extra something other than being a great coach. Like you have to have an extra something. As people in the South will tell you that. Like you can't just be a great coach and expect to do wonders at LSU or at Alabama. That's why Brian Kelly has had issues at LSU. Why he's had issues getting people on board for him at LSU. Now he's finally got the ball rolling for himself a little bit, but it takes a different type of guy to be a head coach in the SEC and specifically at Alabama. And I love Kalen DeBoer. He's a great coach. He's done excellent everywhere he's been. I just don't think he's a great fit for Alabama. I don't, culturally. And we all know a culture fit is a real thing. Like you can't just step in anywhere and expect to have the same exact results as you had 2,000 miles across the country. Like
we could say what we want about DeBoer, but if we're talking about how they don't have any money, they're not paying the buyout. He's going to be the coach there for a little bit more.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's his program for at least the next few years.
And that plays into them not having those resources because his buyout is what I think I heard this morning. It's like 76 million.
Yeah, maybe 76.
After this season, it'd be like 70 something million. And you look at Texas A&M, they just did that a couple years ago to get Jimbo Fisher out of there. No problem. Alabama cannot do that. They can't. They don't have the money to be able to.
I mean, could this be a complete overreaction from all of us? And Alabama could be just fine, and they'll go undress Georgia or something stupid in a couple weeks, possibly. But as of right now, I just don't see it. And we have seen this quite a few times now in the DeBoer era, right? I mean, we remember the game in Norman last year against Oklahoma. I mean, there has been times where Alabama has just been beat, like just flat out beat. And that maybe it's so weird and maybe I'm questioning it so much because it just wasn't a thing with Saban, right? Like, we've seen so many games that played out similar to how that Florida State game was playing out, and Alabama finds a way and comes back and wins that football game, right? That's just not happening anymore.
Well, it is just so different too, with DeBoer as well, because I mean, all offseason, Tommy Castellanos is working out with different Alabama players, and he's talking shit to their faces about them and the entire Alabama football team. If that's Nick Saban's Alabama, it would have been fucking 2017 style beatdown if you remember that game against USC down in Dallas. Yeah, I mean, it would have been absolutely fucking bloodshed all over the field. But they were the ones that ended up spilling blood on the field. They don't
Yeah.
have that hard edge anymore. Like, you don't fear Alabama the way that you feared them just 3-4 years ago.
I
I
mean,
just
I
don't think we
would.
can call this. I just don't think we can call this an overreaction because last year they lost to Vanderbilt. They lost to Oklahoma. Like if they
Yeah.
had went 11-1 last year and they made the playoffs and they went to the semifinals, they lose the first game of the year. I'd be like, all right, guys, we're overreacting a little
Right.
bit. They weren't that great
And
last year either.
and that's with a similar roster that they had the year before.
Yeah, it's just
Very
the
similar
SEC.
roster.
It's a tough conference. The SEC, you got Texas, you got Georgia, you got LSU. LSU won. LSU went to Clemson and they won, right? So it's I don't know. It might be a rough couple of years in Tuscaloosa.
We will see.
Yeah, I
We'll keep
mean,
eyes
I
on them
think,
for sure.
and I also think week one, talking about the kind of the SEC as a whole, it just kind of the SEC is wide open. Who's
Yeah.
gonna win
Boy,
the
yeah.
SEC? Like,
Yeah.
and I think the Big Ten's kind of similar too at the moment. Obviously Ohio State kind of gets the marquee win as of right now, but
Yeah, but in the Big Ten,
the
it's going to be
SEC
one of three
the
teams.
SEC probably had right. The SEC probably has what 4, 5, 6 teams that
Yeah,
you
exactly.
could argue could win that
Yeah.
conference right now.
Yeah. All right. A couple other things that I wanted to just give a quick shout out. Lee Corso, his final college game day, he went 6 for 6 in his picks. So I don't know why I didn't think of
I
it
didn't.
until after the fact. But had I if you tailed those picks and built up a parlay, you would have won yourself a little nice chunk of money there on Saturday. Notre Dame
Old fuck.
loses 27-24 late in fourth quarter in Miami. Love to
That
see
game
it.
felt
Absolutely poetic. Fuck you, Jawan Slider. Yeah. I mean,
that game felt very similar to the Penn State semifinal game there, up until
very
Miami
similar,
didn't throw an
man.
interception on the
Very
last
similar.
drive and actually kicked the field goal.
Yeah, that was. Oh, I was shitting my pants there for a little bit. Hey,
Yeah,
and shout out Bo Perbula real quick. Sorry, Alex, but I want to give a quick shout out to Bo Perbula as well. Heisman campaign.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
Some are talking.
Central Arkansas is really the
Just-
cream of the crop right there.
Just relax.
Some are talking.
Here
They,
he's
some
they
of-
got Kansas. They got Kansas this week. That's a real game. That's a real game.
I hear he's focused.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, Catholics versus Convicts was probably the best game of the weekend for sure. Always nice to see Notre Dame lose. It's so weird. Like I find myself getting joy watching Miami and Florida State win, which is very rare. Like I don't like either of those teams either,
Yeah.
but
yeah.
they beat teams that I hate more, so it all works out.
We'll take it.
Definitely could tell that Notre Dame did not have kind of had a new quarterback. Not sure how you only give the supposed best running back in the country 10 carries, but do your
we
thing,
are.
Marcus. Maybe worry about a game plan instead of reinstating Sunday Mass or something. I'm not sure.
All right, guys, let's go ahead and get wrapped up here. I want to do a couple week 2 picks, and then we're good to go. We got Iowa State. This is one of my favorite games every year. It's always good for a little nap for me. I don't know. It's a little bit of a boring game, but I still love it. I always love to pick it. Iowa State. It's in Ames. Both of these teams look pretty solid right now.
Whoa, no. Iowa looked terrible. Iowa looked terrible against Albany. They could not score. They could not move the ball against
Nick, I'm
Albany.
trying to push narratives, bro. I'm trying to push narratives, man.
Big Ten narratives. Big Ten narratives.
Yeah, exactly.
No, but I mean, as much as I would like to pick Iowa because they're in the conference and everything, after what I saw against Albany, I will take Iowa State. Iowa State beat Kansas State, and then they took care of business against the whatever FCS school. But Iowa did not really take care of business against an FCS school. So yeah, I'll take the Cyclones.
I had a shit week picking other than Ohio State. So I feel like I should just go completely against my gut for everything. So my gut says I should take Iowa State. I'm going to take Iowa. I don't know why, because I hate them. But yeah, I'll take Iowa.
I am going to go Iowa State. They're at home, and they've proven to treat me well over the years when it comes to betting them. I heard a lot of shit talk from Iowa fans this offseason about how Mark Gronowski is going to be, the next Ricky Stanzi, pulling off upsets, all this bullshit. Didn't see it on Saturday. So yeah, got to go with Iowa State. I like Rocco Beck, so I'm going to go with the better quarterback in that game. Let's go Baylor, or actually, no. Sorry, I want to go Michigan at Oklahoma. Now, the interesting thing about this Michigan game here, Jay-Sean Barham, Michigan's starting linebacker, one of Michigan's starting linebackers, he had a personal foul penalty in the second half of their
Terrible
game week
call.
1. Yeah, terrible call, but it did get upheld, so he's going to be suspended for the first half of this game on Saturday.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Michigan. I'm not really sold on Oklahoma. Brent Venables took a pay cut. I don't love what he's done there.
Taking the Jim
Bryce
Harbaugh
Underwood.
route.
Bryce Underwood looked. I mean, I get it. They played New Mexico. Bryce Underwood looked for an 18-year-old looked really composed, really good pocket presence, good football IQ, made some nice throws. So I'll take the Wolverines and on the road in the SEC, take Michigan.
I am taking Oklahoma because fuck Michigan, cheating pricks. You get nothing for cheating your way to a national title. I will never pick you again. Fuck you. I hope you lose every game. Boomer.
Sooner.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I think I'm going to go with Oklahoma here as well. At home, at night, now an
College
SEC
game day.
environment. College game day is going to be there. I do think Michigan's going to put up a really good fight, but saw Oklahoma take down Alabama last year, and I know we just had a 15-minute talk about shitting on Alabama and the state of their program right now. Not
We weren't
really
shitting on them.
Yeah,
We were just being realistic.
Yeah, I know. But, after what I saw them do to Alabama last year, I think they can do it to Michigan this year. It is a freshman quarterback going into that environment, so it's not far-fetched. It's only his second start. Give me Oklahoma. This is an interesting game here. Bo Prabula hosting Kansas. You mentioned it earlier, Nick. This is going to be a fun quarterback game. Jalen Daniels, Bo Prabula, both very fun quarterbacks to watch play. Bo Prabula going to add to his Heisman campaign on Saturday. Give me Tigers.
Jesus.
This is actually a really interesting game.
How awesome would that be, though, if Bo Prabula...
It would not be awesome.
Hang on. No, hang on. Bo Prabula wins the Heisman. Penn State wins the national championship this year. Who says no to that?
Now, here's what actually would happen in that situation. Bo Prabula wins the Heisman. They meet Penn State in the semifinals, and Missouri somehow wins the game, and then fucking Bo Prabula somehow wins the national championship.
All right.
That'd be the worst case scenario.
Don't piss me.
Do you know how obnoxious our fan base would be if Bo Prabula even got invited to New York?
Yeah,
I mean, they were obnoxious.
The discourse would be so bad.
They were obnoxious with Will Levis. I mean, could you imagine if a transfer quarterback actually, was in contention for the Heisman? Like, no thanks.
God forbid somebody transfers out and both parties benefit.
No thanks. I wish him all the best, but not that much.
I think that'd be fucking sick. And then Drew Aller goes number 1 overall. Win. Sorry, go ahead, Nick.
No, you're good.
Living a pipe dream.
It's actually a really interesting game, though. It's kind of the game I wish Game Day was going to, because I think the game they are going to
is a fun game.
It's a rivalry game. It's everything that makes college football great. It's a rivalry game in between power conferences. I love it. But I'm going to take the Jayhawks. I've thought they've had a pretty good first 2 weeks of the season, albeit against lesser competition. But I mean, Missouri doesn't even have an official starting quarterback yet. So until Bo Prabula wins himself the job, I'm not going to be able to pick them to win a game.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it would be cool to see Bo continue to have success. I actually thought watching that game against, Bucknell there, whoever the hell he played, I actually thought he looked pretty good. It looked comfortable, looked ready to go.
Catching strays there.
Yeah, I mean, for that reason, I'll take Mizzou.
Yeah. Like I said earlier, give me Missouri. They're at home, and you truly never know what to expect with Kansas. Missouri has been a pretty stable program over recent years. Eli Drinkowitz is a good coach. Give me the Tigers there. And I'm not sure if Bo is still. I mean, I know Bo was battling for the starting quarterback job heading into the season, but didn't the other quarterback get hurt?
I think
Like
so.
That
snap
might
one or
happen.
something like
Yeah,
that.
I think
I
I
might be out of the
I
I
think
might be out
so.
of the loop on that one.
I think it's Bo's job regardless. And I mean,
That's fine.
even if the guy didn't, I mean, I think again, it's Central Arkansas or whoever they played, but he looked great. First throw was a 51-yard bomb touchdown. So
I'm pretty sure you could throw a 51-yard bomb against Central Arkansas.
I could not.
Yeah.
I could not. Maybe
Yeah,
a
I mean,
baseball, but
if it's
not
a
a football.
if it's a 15-yard out and then the receiver takes it the rest of the way, then yeah. But
Nah, I'm messing around.
all right, last one. We get an SEC conference matchup, week 2 already. Ole Miss goes on the road to Kentucky. Mark Stoops, he's a lot of people say that he's a dead man walking. How do you see this one playing out? I don't really know too much about Ole Miss this year, honestly. I know Austin Simmons is an interesting guy. A few people have
Harrison
mentioned
Wallace had a good first game with them.
Harrison Wallace had a very good first game with him. But
Yeah, I'm gonna take the Rebels. Kentucky's a basketball school, man. They had a couple good 9-3 years a couple times. That's a basketball school. Especially in the NIL era, all the money's going to basketball. I'll take the Rebels.
Yeah, I will also take Ole Miss. I think I actually kind of like what Lane Kiffin does down there. Kind of does his own thing, says what he wants when he wants. A troll, kind of obnoxious at times, but I don't know. He kind of like the guy.
I think it'd be hilarious if Ole Miss was like super good, and then like College Game Day had to go to Ole Miss after that whole McAfee situation with that girl that went to Ole Miss. I think that'd be hilarious.
Oh man, that'd be amazing. Yeah, give me Ole Miss as well. Though Kentucky's backs are against the wall, and I always love going with a team whose back is against the wall. Coach coaching for his life. I mean, this could be a nice little feather in Mark Stoops' cap. Might be the only feather he has in his cap, but yeah. Give me
before we wrap things up here, I do think we would be doing it an injustice, especially with a resident Packers fan on the pod right now. Nick, instant reaction to Micah Parsons now being a Packer.
I mean, what's not to like? I mean, there's really not much that needs to be said. It's. I mean, hey, the Eagles just probably gained another 7 points on Thursday night against the Cowboys.
Probably. Appreciate you for that.
I mean, we'll see if he plays this week. He hasn't been there all training camp, so you just paid him $188 million. So I would hope he plays. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a lot of. It's not my coin, so I don't really care that much.
You're an owner.
You're paying him. I paid him $15 like 20 or 10 years ago, but yeah, I mean, I think that, not that this is an NFL podcast, but I think that makes them the second best team in the NFC behind the Eagles. And it should be an interesting season. And the Eagles go to Lambeau in November. So Mike's still going to get to play against them at one point.
He's getting paid more than Patrick Mahomes annually now. Hey, Micah, why don't you send some of that money over here? And I'm not. Yeah, exactly. Let's go get some players, man.
Sponsor the pod too.
Yeah. What the hell?
Hey, debut of Chapel Bill tonight. Over under 3.5 times Jordan Hudson gets shown on the cameras.
Oh, fucking hammer that over. Hammer it. Hammer it. Yeah, it's. I'm looking forward to that game. Who do you got? I should have had that game as one of the picks. For week 1.
I don't know which side I like. I like the under. After what I just saw Matt Patricia do to Arch Manning, I think I like Bill Belichick to do the same thing to some TCU quarterback. But I mean, TCU could win. But let's remember, Deion got his first win as a coach against TCU a couple years ago when they were coming off that horrid national championship appearance. But I'll take the Tar Heels at home. A lot of momentum. A lot of celebrities going to be there. Michael Jordan, second greatest basketball player of all time, is going to be there. So
I think this one's in Atlanta.
No.
Yeah,
I think it's neutral site.
No, I don't.
I'm pretty sure the game's in Chapel Hill.
Pretty sure it's in Chapel Hill. Yeah, I think so.
Oh, okay. All right. I thought I heard something about that.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm going to agree with Nick. I think I'm going to take North Carolina. It'll be interesting. I think, as much as people dislike, I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that dislike Bill Belichick because of the success he had um, in the NFL. I think having a guy like him coaching in college football is just good for the game. Not saying I'm rooting for more success for him, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that goes tonight. But I'll take the Tar Heels.
Yeah, I mean, I'm on the Tar Heel side as well, but uh, TCU is hearing a lot of shit about comparisons to Colorado a couple years ago. Chapel Bill coming in, a lot of transfers, same sort of scenario. This could be their chance at retribution here on the road. So, I mean, look out for TCU, but I'm still going to ride with the Tar Heels here. I just
The question
like
is,
to
will the
do it.
game be over before Bill's girlfriend's bedtime?
No.
I have to call it short.
All right, boys. Is there anything else that's you wanted to talk about here? We good? Listeners, thank you so much. Really appreciate you guys tuning in. Be sure to like and subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us everywhere that you can. We really appreciate all your support. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful week. We are.